Agenda for Bengaluru Infrastructure Development Task Force has submitted a comprehensive blueprint for Bangalore called Plan Bengaluru 2020.
Right.
It suggests a Bengaluru Metropolitan Authority to act as a coordinating body to all agencies. It also suggests ward committees for citizen elected representative coordination.
Correct.
And also a long-term mayor with a lot of powers. But the last government, that of Yediyurappa, sat over it. Even now, it is under the government.
Correct. Well, I referred to this problem earlier because before Abide, the Kasturi Rangan Committee on Greater Bangalore had already made a number of these recommendations. So the details are there. And some of these are constitutional requirements that setting up that Metropolitan Planning Committee is required by that constitutional amendment. So therefore, Karnataka government is in violation of that. Yes, and the central government, the parliament can take note of such things, and affect even grants, but they have not done it. So the political problems of the state have made it difficult to address these issues. And I will simply repeat the plea that with a new chief minister, I think he should give priority to looking at these recommendations and make up for lost time by acting on them as soon as possible. He should create the kind of political consensus we need. And this is a problem because the vested interests who have gained from the earlier regime of one-year term and musical chair, etc., may not like a change. But I remember in our consultations with elected people, etc., even some of the corporators, MLAs came and said, we support this idea. It is time we do it. So we need to garner support for these changes and make them happen. There is no other answer.
In fact, Abide incorporated most of the findings of the Kasturi
Same thing.
It's a big one. Why do you think the political class vary of such recommendations? Usually they get slightly jittery whenever such recommendations come.
Well, because they are major departures from what they are used to. If you are a beneficiary of the status quo, you will think twice before saying something that is uncertain, which may unseat or limit my powers. That's the problem. I don't really want to go into detail because many people know this. We are really looking for a new level of leadership, level and quality of leadership, which the city needs at its present juncture of development and the future challenges. A one-year mayor, how will he take he or she a longer-term view of the city? She has no interest. I mean, 1 year I am going out. So what can I do in 1 year? Help my ward, get some money here, do this contract. That is not a long-term view. It's a major problem.
In Abide's Plan Bengaluru 2020, they have spoken about ward committees. I told you, citizens and elected representatives have to interact.
Right.
Is it that the elected representatives fear that the powers will be curtailed if they are under constant scrutiny by citizens? Like corporators for that matter. He is having his way.
Correct.
I don't know what all things they siphon off funds. If citizens keep a constant watch, do they feel they cannot do what they are doing now?
Oh, definitely. It's a human tendency, not only for corporators or anyone. We would all like to have freedom to do what we think is right or good for me. That's what we think. It's okay to do it in your family or as an individual. We are now saying you are managing agencies funded by our tax money as citizens. So we have a right to give you feedback or alert you if things are not going well. In all developed countries and societies, the public, the media, academics and so forth play that role. They are not, nobody can stop it even if I don't like it. We have seen that with the Lokpal bill now. What is happening there? People are saying we are fed up with this business of postponing your decision for 40 years. What are you doing? So people challenge a government. Governments and officials may not like it, but that is a citizen's duty in a democracy. In a democracy, an alive and active citizenry is a prerequisite for the success of democracy.
Dr. Paul, in what more ways can citizens participate in city governance?
I think there are several ways. See, the ward committee idea and meeting at sub-ward levels, etc., have not worked. Part of the reason is in a city, people are busy with their own livelihoods and earning, coming back at night. Most of them, you know. But they are small groups. They are not really representative in the sense.
In a ward, a small group is enough, I think.
Well, but how is it that we are not able to set up the ward committee still? There is partly political resistance, or somebody or the other will capture that. I would say, even if these mechanisms don't work, a simple mechanism called a public hearing alone would have done some good. No committee, not permanent members, etc. We say the budget is coming up. We want to hear what are your needs, what are the problems in this ward that you feel terrible about.
Open discussion.
Say that we will meet in this college or school that day. Mayor will come, or the corporator, whoever is commissioner. We want to listen to you. Note that. Why should there not be inputs? Very much like feedback we are talking about. Then you will come to hear about some of the problems that your own officials may not have paid attention to. Make use of the people's knowledge and their airing of what their needs are. You may not be able to accommodate all of them, but you may get something new. Then when you come out with a budget for the ward, there are schemes being approved. Why shouldn't the public not know about it? Have a meeting again. Say, this is what we have decided, the council is approving this. These are the things, some of which include things you said, but some we couldn't accommodate. These things will happen. But what does it do? The moment you announce that, you have created a forum for public accountability. See, once people come to know, you say you will do this park, you will improve this road, you will do, at the end of the year, we'll say, hey, what have you done?
Yes,
you have not even utilized the fund, only half the budget is utilized. That's a risk. That's why they are resisting public's involvement in governance.
Resistance.
Well, it is a cultural.
It will take time.
It's a cultural shift or transformation that officials will have to get used to, and a period during which gradually they improve their own efficiency. For example, what are they used to today? A corporator calls and says, this should be done. Yes sir, I'll do that. Somebody else with influence. Agenda for work comes out of selective choices somebody is making non-transparently. So the budget may have been meant for this service road, but its pothole will remain because you and I do not know whether it was to be done or not to be done. If that money, 2 lakhs, are taken somewhere else, you wouldn't know. So transparency and providing the information to the public and then setting your own house in order. For example, on roads, I have always felt, if you had a formula which you make it known, you can divide roads according to certain norms. Heavy traffic roads, main roads, right? Semi-busy roads, more, less commercial maybe, then purely residential. You can have 3 or 4 categories. Suppose you were to say, for maintenance, every year work will be done on this first category, but in the residential it will be once in 3 years or 4 years. Then would it not establish a norm? Then if I am living there, I would say, for 10 years you haven't done anything. How come? You have this norm. So they don't want to announce any norm. Having no norms means I can play with the budget as I like. Corporator can decide, somebody else decides. This is the trick. Therefore, the demand for rules of the game, standards, norms of how things will be done have to be made known. That will give the power to citizens to demand and be more aware.